Welcome back to Olney On Air, where we talk about what's happening in Olney, Texas. Population 3,200. Who's doing what, what's changing, and what there is to do in our community. I'm Gina Keating, editor of the Olney Enterprise newspaper.
And I'm Kimberly Smith, executive director of the Olney Chamber of Commerce.
Each week, we take you behind the headlines, introduce you to the people making things happen in Olney and Young County, and bring you conversations with community leaders, business owners, educators, pastors, volunteers, and the people helping shape the future of our hometown.
We'll also catch you up on what's happening around town, what's coming up on the community calendar, and give you a look at the stories we're covering in the Olney Enterprise.
This is episode 7, and we've got another great show for you today. We'll be talking with Joshua Gallardo, who is running for Justice of the Peace in Young County. And I just want to say that I can pronounce it properly, Joshua Gallardo, but that's the way he pronounces it.
Yeah.
We'll learn more about his background, why he's seeking the office, and what he hopes to bring to the job if elected.
We'll also welcome Pastor Sean Reeves of St. Luke Lutheran Church. Sean joins us to talk about faith, community, and another exciting event coming up at St. Luke that continues the church's tradition of opening its doors to the entire community.
We'll also take a look at what's making news around Olney this week.
And as always, we'll probably wander off into a few stories that weren't in our notes.
Exactly. That seems to be becoming part of the format.
I think our listeners expect it now.
So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and thanks for joining us for episode 7. Can you believe it? Of Olney On Air.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the news.
Okay. It says Olney Hamilton Hospital issues $6 million bonds as hospital nears finish.
That's right. So as you probably remember, we voters gave the hospital board authorization to sell up to $33 million in general obligation bonds to fund our new hospital. So they got the construction started off with $27 million sale of bonds. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, when you go past the hospital, that they poured the parking lot. Will got a great picture of that.
Great job, Will.
Yeah, thank you, Will. With his drone.
Ooh.
He's having so much fun with that drone.
I want a drone so bad. I'm saving up my Zen points to get one.
What are you going to do with it?
No idea.
Okay, just spy on people.
Vincent got one off of Temu, and he promptly crashed it into a tree.
No, he did not.
He did. It was like the size of a crow.
What was he trying to do with it?
He was trying to keep it in the air, and it didn't go so well for us.
Oh, no.
And so went into our neighbor's yard, and we couldn't get it out. And so his Temu drone just forever lost.
Oh, no, that's very
There's probably
sad.
Birds making a nest on it now.
Okay, but I think Will's is a little bit...
He has a real fancy pants one.
Where'd you get that one?
Amazon.
Oh, okay, Amazon.
Well, I'm going to get mine for my Zen miles, so.
There you go. That's pretty good. Okay, well, anyway, so he did take that great photo that's on the front page, but the hospital last month issued the remaining $6 million in bonds so that they could finish the inside of the hospital and all the things, and it's going to be opening probably in October or November. Well, anyway, let's just put it this way. It'll be done, and it will be up to the inspectors, state inspectors, as to when it will actually be treating patients.
Well, I inspected it, and I give an A+. It is beautiful.
I do, too. It is pretty neat. So hopefully, I think when you and I went in, it was still, there weren't any walls up.
No, it was still, I mean, it's so nice. And when you drive by it now, you're like, dang, I can't believe that's an Olney. It's so nice.
It's really pretty. Anyway, so yeah, we'll hopefully get to see it because they're going to have some more walkthroughs, at least for the board and the medical staff. So maybe we can sneak in with them.
Ooh.
Okay.
VIPs.
Exactly. We think we are anyway.
I'm just going to get a gold star that says it and just wear it.
There you go.
Do we know yet what they're planning on doing with the old hospital?
Well, actually, I've got a story about that on page 5. They hired a I think they call it a historical architect. And he is going to look at the 1927 building and see if it can be converted into office space, which would be pretty neat, though. Okay, you're making a face, but everybody's talking about mental health and the fact that we don't have any facilities here for that. So one thing that the board talked about at their last meeting was that this could be a place where we could have some mental health offices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you could have, people, practitioners coming in to use those offices for mental health appointments. You could have some dorm rooms for traveling medical people. Mm-hmm. So it could have a lot of really cool applications. So they're trying to fix it up. And if they do, and if it's structurally sound, they can get grants to fix that up or tax incentives to help fix it up. So I think it's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, I thought at one point they had talked about maybe partnering up with Tech as a teaching hospital.
Yes, exactly. And they're still talking about that. So they talked about that at the meeting as well. They said that they're talking to Olney ISD about trying to get a CNA instructor to come and work with the high school. And the idea is that we want to have a residency and internship program in the hospital with Texas Tech so that we can have people stay here. People that go to Olney Hospital, maybe they go to Tech and get educated and then come back and do their residency here.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
It is a pretty cool thing. The hospital board's moving forward on a lot of stuff. They had their meeting last Friday, and so I sat in on it and listened to all the stuff that they're doing, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I also see the city gets a grant for fitness equipment. What's that?
Oh, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is a hilarious story. So some people from the National Fitness Project, I think it's called our mayor, Rue Rogers, a couple of months ago and said, hey, we have these grants for this thing called an outdoor fitness court. And we think that it would be pretty awesome to give you guys one. They cost about $60,000. And if you qualify, you can just have it for free. All you're going to have to do is raise some money to do the installation, which is about $100,000. But you get the whole thing free. So Mayor Rogers decided that we would go ahead and apply for it. He thought it would take several weeks or months to get an answer. And no, the National Fitness Campaign, it's called, got back to us after 5 days and said, yeah, you're perfect. We want to give you this.
Where will they be at?
It'll be in Tom Griffin Park. You know where the walking trail is?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be in that walking trail. It's a circle, so it'll be inside there. So we have the scout hut down
right
towards one end of it, and then we'll have the fitness pad. It's a 30 by 30 pad.
Okay.
Somewhere in there between that gazebo thing and the scout hut. They'll put it in there somewhere.
And so it's just a pad?
No, I mean, it's really cool. If you can't really see that much from the picture that I put in the paper, but if you go online, you can kind of, you can increase the size of it. But it has all these body weight type exercise things you can do. It has steps, it has rings that you can pull yourself up, bars where you can do pull-ups and push-ups. It's really neat. I mean, if you go on the National Fitness Campaign website, you can see pictures of how they do it. They just did one in Wiley, Texas. So if you want to go on the Wiley Facebook page, you can see how they use it. It's really neat. So if you want to stay fit, it's a fantastic addition to your walking regime at the Tom Griffin Park. So it's really kind of neat. So they're hoping that they can raise the money. They're getting together with Keep Olney Beautiful to do another fundraiser. So hopefully they'll get the money raised between grants and fundraising and so forth to get that thing put in sometime this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be good to have something like that here.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, next we have State Utilities Association, Loud's Olney's Michael Jacoba.
Yeah, our Public Works Director, Michael Jacoba, once again honored. This is his second time in the last year of getting recognized for the great work that he does. And with keeping our utilities going, which is no small feat considering how old they are.
Right.
I mentioned in the story that we have an average of 9 water main breaks every month, or water pipe breaks every month. And then he's dealing with trying to replace our 103-year-old water treatment plant. And then all the other stuff that goes along with being the guy who's in charge of how everything works here.
Yeah. Anytime I go to a city council meeting, I like in my head refer to him as like the wizard of public works, because they will just ask him any question and he's like all knowing.
Yes.
Like, it could be like so random, completely different parts of it, but he always knows because he's out there every day. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So congratulations, Michael. You totally deserve it.
Yes. Also, the Olney Country Club shows off upgrades at Semco inaugural golf tournament.
That's right. So Semco, which is our cement batch plant maker here in town, sponsored a 2-day golf tournament. And it was just kind of a great excuse to talk about all the upgrades that are going to happen there at the country club. They are upgrading, or they have already upgraded the golf cart paths. They're going to do some cool stuff. They've got a golf course designer who came to the country club to just really kind of pump up the volume of the golfing experience there. There's going to be some there's going to be some new, I think, golf.
I know they're doing it's sand traps. They're updating those. They're going to have targets and the driving range. What else? They're draining out the ponds, and they're going to put a liner and do all new there.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you know more about it than me because you go out there and golf.
I do. Yeah. I do. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be as much as up to $1 million worth of upgrades to that country club in the next year or so. They're going to be upgrading the tennis courts, I think, and doing some stuff to the...
Yeah, because they're going to do tennis. Weren't they going to do pickleball too or something?
Right. I think they're going to make the lines, but they're really upgrading the whole tennis court so that maybe the school can come and play and do all that stuff. But they will have the lines there so you can do pickleball too. Yeah. And then they're going to do some stuff with the clubhouse. I think we're going to get some lockers.
Added 2 decks. Ooh. So coming out of the clubhouse, there are these 2 beautiful covered decks. I was out there yesterday talking for Olney On America. And I mean, these decks are so awesome. They're getting furniture out there, and they'd already added like the, not canopy, but like the over thing for the deck already. But this is 2 more covered areas for members to sit out there. And I'd heard that the request was made for sun tanning layout chairs, which is fantastic. Yay. So they are doing a lot of really great things out there, and I'm looking forward to it. It's so awesome to have something like that here in Olney.
Yes, and I think that, Landon Rowe, who's the president of Olney Recreation Association, pointed out that these improvements are luring more members, but also more tournaments, which is pretty great. So anyway, so that's in the paper too. We got some great photos of our local golfers who participated in that 2-day tournament.
All right. Barbara Larimore.
Barbara is our columnist, Barbara Larimore. Thank you for writing another column for 4th of July. She talks about some local talent, Shad Sullivan, who wrote a really great poem about patriotism, and she also talks about Lee Greenwood, who everybody knows about God Bless the USA. So she talked about people who got creative thinking about our great nation.
Yes, absolutely. Then we have city applies for up to $10 million from the state water fund.
Yeah, so that's another great thing. So our new city administrator, Andy Wolf, is leading the charge on trying to get us some cash out of that $1 billion water improvement fund for rural communities that was created during the last legislative session. So we can't use it on the new water treatment plant because that was already under construction when he made the application, but we can maybe use it for fixing some of our aging pipes.
Yes. So I think they're past aging. They have aged.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure they would really appreciate being retired.
They would love a facelift.
That would. Anyway, so he's going after that. We're hoping that we will be able to get that.
Okay, then I see the Olney City Council filled vacancies on 2 city boards.
Yes, so we have OEDC, Clancy Myers stepped off that board, and Rand Camp, who is one of the co-owners of Ace Hardware, is on that board now.
He's one of my favorites.
Yes.
I just love him.
He's going to do such a good job. He and Kyle Hinson are going to be on that board now.
Awesome. And then it says Mr. Cowart left.
Oh, yeah. Ronnie Cowart, who was so excited to leave the city council, and he got put on 2 boards. He's got stuck on the TERS board, which, Ronnie, I think you're going to have a good time. And then he's on planning and zoning, and he was joking that the only reason that he accepted the appointment was because they almost never meet. So, but thank you, Ronnie. You have a lot of experience, and I'm sure everybody really appreciates you.
We appreciate your service, Ronnie.
Yes, exactly.
Stick with it.
Right.
Okay, let's get started. Now we turn to a local race that affects people in very practical ways. The Justice of the Peace Court is often called the People's Court, handling traffic tickets, small civil disputes, evictions, truancy matters, magistrate duties, and inquests. In Texas, JPs can hear Class C misdemeanors, civil cases up to $20,000, landlord-tenant disputes, truancy cases, magistrate matters, and inquests.
Welcome, Joshua Gallardo, to Olney On
me.
Air.
Welcome.
Yeah, okay. So for voters who don't know you yet, tell us who you are and why you're running for Precinct 1, Justice of the Peace.
So my name is Josh Gallardo. I have lived in Young County since 2020, other than a small little stint. I was employed at the Clay County Sheriff's Office in 24. I graduated high school in 2015 from City View. I've been in public service for almost 11 years now. I started at the Wichita County Jail not much later after high school. You know, public service has been, it's kind of it's my whole adult career. So I really feel like everything I've learned in the past almost 11 years really would help me better serve the citizens of Young County in this position.
Okay, so what do you think the JP Court does that most people don't understand?
So a lot of people just think it's a traffic court, but a big part of it is obviously going to be evictions and truancy. You know, those can be some of the hardest things people go through, and people deserve to be heard. I mean, the law is the law, especially when it comes to truancy, which I believe we'll talk about in just a little bit. Mm-hmm. But people do need held accountable, but every case will be different, especially when it comes to those, because both sides need to be heard.
All right. So what experience has prepared you to handle the legal, administrative, and human side of this job?
So I'll start with the human side of it. My early days in the jail, I was always taught you got to be firm but fair, and I put that all throughout my career so far. I've have almost 11 years of law enforcement experience interpreting the law, criminal investigations, a big part of which obviously this job, being impartial. You have to make split-second decisions, especially on calls. You have to listen to both sides, and I feel like that would very, very well translate to the justice of the peace.
Great. How would you balance compassion with enforcing the law?
So I think it still goes back to being firm but fair. Everyone deserves to be heard, especially when they're coming into the court. This could be the worst thing they're going through. They deserve to be listened to.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a JP court may deal with traffic tickets, like you said, evictions, small claims, truancy, even inquests. Which of those areas do you think needs the most attention in Young County?
Just back to evictions and truancy. Especially with evictions, that's a very hard spot for a family. Both sides need to be heard, and then the judge, he needs to take both sides and put the law into it, keep personal opinions out of it, and people need to be respected. This could be the worst thing somebody's going through in their life.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's good.
Truancy cases often involve struggling families. How do you think a JP should approach those cases?
with compassion, every case is different. I think you need to really affirm with the parents that their children do need to go to school, the importance of their education. Their accountability is big, but the justice course is not there to punish per se. Mm-hmm. But I think it just need to be emphasized to the parents, really. Because you never know, like I said, what people are going through in their day-to-day life, why that child is missing school. I think it needs to be listened to more than just punishing the family.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely have some mitigating factors here in terms of, you know, sometimes people have transportation issues or there might be mental health issues, that kind of stuff. Are you ready for that kind of thing?
Actually, I'm a mental health peace officer. So
are.
Yeah, we try to take that extra step, listen to people, get them the help they need. It's not always just these are bad kids.
Well, that's pretty cool. I think you're besides Chief Burbeck, our last chief of police, he was also a mental health officer. We'll take a little side trip here, but why did you decide to do that? It's a certification, right, that you have to get?
Yes, ma'am. It was actually Sheriff Babcock's idea, and I think there's not many deputies left. I'd have to see who's all. No, I think we're all mental health certified peace officers. It's a week-long course. It's without getting too much into politics, the mental health system in this state isn't the best.
No.
I mean, there's people that really need help and they just can't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Sheriff Babcock talks a lot about how that really causes, a huge amount of work for you guys there at the sheriff's office because of what happens in the jails and,
I think in the past few years he's done a great job on really transforming, and with obviously the start of the mental health team, and I think that's done wonders, and it's I think a year how long it's been formed.
Yeah. Right. That's right. Yeah. Well, I got to get with him and talk to him about that because was a fantastic idea, and it's so nice that you're part of that.
And you've worked day to day and sort of enforcing and having the ability to work with people with the mental health. Getting elected as a JP, you would have a different perspective on things than most who don't have that experience and haven't seen with the truancy, with the eviction. I mean, I think that would be so great to have somebody with a totally different perspective and knowledge of what mental health really looks like in day to day for a law enforcement.
Right. Plus, you probably would know where to refer people. I mean, we don't have a lot here, but
right,
you would presumably be able to connect them with those kind of services.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So back on track here. So where were we? Oh, yes. So what should people expect when they walk into your courtroom there in Precinct 1, presuming that you are elected in November?
So I keep repeating myself, but fair and impartial. They should be heard and they should be respected. I know sometimes people don't like getting tickets, but they should be able to, if they want to fight their case, they should be able to fight it. I would explain the procedures. I wouldn't give them legal advice. Obviously, you have to remain impartial. But I feel like they should expect a court that's accessible and that to really help them with the issues they're going, not help them, but to remain impartial and unbiased.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about the court, the JP court here in Olney. They don't give you medical advice, but they had all the forms ready for, I'm a landlord in town, and it was our first time. It was already super stressful, and they were able to be like, here's the forms, this is what you have to do, and they remained completely unbiased, but they were able to give me the information, because when you start to go look online, all of a sudden there's all these different pages, so I think that's great to have okay, this is what you need to do. I can't help you with anything else, but I think that's great.
I think Judge Stewart does a great job up here. I worked for him when he was a sergeant at the sheriff's office.
Oh, good.
I think he does.
Shout out to you,
yeah,
Judge Stewart.
Yeah, he's great. He's wonderful.
He is great.
How would you make the court? I guess that's the way you could make the court more accessible to ordinary citizens who don't have lawyers. Is having those forms ready, or
yes, just accessible. So most people aren't going to have a lawyer going into justice court. I think everyone needs to know the procedures of how the court works without giving them legal advice.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, so let's see. What does judicial temperament mean to you?
That's you'd call that the backbone of it. You got to hear cases, be impartial, respectful. You have to be able to remain calm under pressure, which I think I'm very good at, because you don't know what people are going through. Like I said, they might get very angry in there. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to let everyone here tell their sides of the story and be heard, and then interpret the law how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, there and again, why it helps that you have that perspective of being law enforcement on the streets. Right. Especially, you said you work nights.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Yeah, so that's a whole different...
I bet it is. Yes, you've seen it all. And then I was going to ask, that's a 24/7 job. You're on call all the time. And you'll be pretty much on call for all the precincts.
They switch week on and week off, but I'm a canine handler. I've been one since 2022, so I've already kind of got used to that.
Yes, I figured.
On-call.
Yeah, I figured. Man, you've got all the skills. You've done it all.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so this is a good one. I think this is also unique to smaller towns like this. How would you handle conflicts of interest in a small county where many people know each other?
So it's inevitable that people are going to know each other. If needed to be, I would recuse myself. That's the one thing I wouldn't have questioned is my impartiality. It's like I said earlier, it's the backbone of the court. If you can't be impartial, you need to recuse yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happens in that case? Would one of the other JPs take over?
Yes.
Okay. What changes, if any, would you like to make in the JP office?
I don't know necessarily would know about making any changes. I think Judge Hearn did a fantastic job, and I believe his 7 years. Mm-hmm. I would probably take about 6 months, get with the clerks, and just see how things are going, and see what changes, if any, need to be made.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's great. What do you think success would look like after your first year in office?
I'd say people come in and know. I mean, I got to tell my side. I was heard. I was respected. Yeah, it might not have went my way, but right. I got to get my part out, and a court that is accessible to everyone and that listens to both sides and interprets the law the right way.
All right, so why should voters choose you in November?
So I'd say public service being my entire adult career, and a majority of that serving the citizens of Young County. I know a lot of people here, and I am in college at the moment, trying to get a degree in criminal justice. I do believe learning never stops.
Yeah.
So I'm 11 years into a career getting a criminal justice degree, and I really feel like they should elect me because my career, my knowledge of the law, my interpreting the law, and just my wanting to serve the citizens of Young County.
All right. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So do you have any more other questions?
So the write-in, so how many other people do you know that are running right now?
I don't know official numbers because you technically can't file until, I believe, July 18th.
Okay.
But
is everybody going to have to file as a write-in?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be interesting.
It is going to be very interesting.
So Judge Hearn was the only one on the ballot.
Yes.
So everybody else is going to be a write-in.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know, like, how would that work? Say they're like, I'm going to vote for him. So you go into the booth and it has an option to do write-in, and they'll just have to type your name in?
Yes, and I believe the election administrator will put all the write-in candidates on the booth so they can know how to spell the names correctly.
All right. Well, let's say your name again a few times. Joshua Gallardo, or Gallardo as you were saying it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So just a couple other little questions about just your background growing up. So you said that you're from Wichita, right?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
where you grew up? Yeah. And went to high school there and everything.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So
how did you choose Graham?
Yeah. And also, how did you choose law enforcement?
You know, my mom's been a nurse probably my entire life, so public service was something that was kind of taught to me at a young age. So the jail was hiring when I got out of high school, so I thought I'd give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the things you learned about people in the jail?
I think every cop should work in the jail at some point. That's how you really learn how to talk to people, especially at that probably the worst time in their life. So
yeah, that's true. I mean,
I think for a lot of law enforcement, if you don't have that experience in the jail, if you arrest somebody, like, I think it's great for them to see, okay, you arrest them and now what happens? And so when you're working in the jail, you're able to see the effects of that arrest and what that looks like. Same thing. I love that you have that mental health certification, because I think so many times if there's not the resources available or the officer isn't aware of any sort of mental health, people with mental health diagnosis can get arrested and put in jail,
which is
for lack
not
of
what they need.
Right,
at all.
right.
Yeah.
And so you know that. So you know it because of your certification and from being in the jails. And I'm sure how many times did you see that where somebody was clearly shouldn't have been in there, like they should have maybe been in some sort of facility instead?
Every day.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sad thing about it is we need so much more accessibility here,
right,
for mental health. But yeah, I mean, people getting caught up in the law enforcement system, you know, we need people who will take that really seriously.
Right. Yeah, and it has shown that once somebody's in the system, especially for mental health, the rate of recidivism, it just increases. The minute that first arrest happens, it'll keep happening, especially if somebody with mental health is let out on bond or whatever. It's so hard for somebody with a diagnosis, you know, it's just the resources need to be there. I think it would be wonderful to have somebody with that background who can sort of understand, okay, well, we need to get to this, especially for truancy court. I mean, I don't know. That's a new thing. They did not have that when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Thank goodness they didn't. Senior year, man. I'm going to tell you what.
That shouldn't even count. I'm sorry. That's not, I don't mean that.
And I didn't even know that JP Court did truancies. That's new for me.
No, I didn't either. I had to. That was thanks to my friend ChatGPT. I found that out.
Luckily, we don't have. That's not a huge problem in Precinct 1.
Yes. Okay. Well, and the other thing we didn't ask you about was all the weddings. You marry people too, right?
I believe so.
Yes, that's right. So, anything special you got in mind for that?
Not just yet. I'd have to plan that out.
Okay.
Just trying to get there first.
That's right.
Well, that'll be great.
Yeah. Well, any other things you want to tell voters? So we pretty much covered everything.
I think so.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and I think you already said the kind of experience that you want them to have when they come before you is that you're fair, firm but fair, and unbiased. And I think that's all we can ask.
I'm going to start going door to door. I want people not just to get my name out there for the election. I want them to know who, if they elect, who they're going to be electing.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with all the residents of Precinct 1, and if possible, obviously that's a large amount of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a really interesting election just because of the write-in aspect of it. So, but I mean, people here, back when we had the last judge election before this one that we just had, we had a write-in candidate who did really well. So keep getting out there.
Great.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you so much for
much
coming on.
Thank you.
All right.
Our next guest is Pastor Sean Reeves of St. Luke Lutheran Church in Olney. This year, St. Luke has been hosting a series of organ concerts showcasing its beautiful historic Reuter organ and celebrating America's 250th birthday. Their next concert is Sunday, July 12th at 3 p.m., featuring patriotic music, a community sing-along, and afterward, a free ice cream social. Today, we'll learn a little more about that concert, but also about the remarkable man who started the Lutheran Church more than 500 years ago and why he believed music was one of God's greatest gifts.
All right. Well, I have the pleasure of welcoming my pastor, Sean Reeves, to
Welcome.
our show.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Excited to be here and to be a part of today.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Before we talk about the concert, tell us a little bit about St. Luke Lutheran Church. How long has the congregation been part of the Olney community?
St. Luke was part of the founding of Olney. Out in the country and the farmers mostly, but some of the people in Olney. We celebrated 125 years not too long ago. So in the 1800s, a bunch of German immigrants, Prussian most likely, came and immigrated to this area, stopping because it was beautiful prairie land, no trees and the grass up to the belly of the horses. And over time formed a rigorous community, and central to that community was their church. Of course, over the years, isn't just a German church anymore, but that's its origins. In the 60s, they moved from west of town in the country, out by the lake. They moved into town. We always kind of joke they just barely made it to the edge of town, but they got into town. And yeah, a lot of members and people you know in the community are members of that church, and I think it's an asset to Olney, and they've been a blessing to me in the 23 years I've been here.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
And we have, I'll have you know, we have a historic marker at the church.
Yeah, we do. It was recognized at the 100th anniversary as a historical site. The old church, I think, also is included in that marker, not just the newer building's only been there since the 60s, but yeah, because it was a foundational part of this community, it was recognized as a historical Texas site.
So come and read our historic marker and come to our concert.
Could you please tell us about the July 12th concert and what people can expect when they attend?
Yeah, I'm excited about this opportunity. First, to thank the LF and Carla Perry Foundation, who want to help the community through this foundation and have funded us helping this organ being used for our church and for the community and its roots and the thing that it can be. So we've decided to do this organ series over the last year to kind of use this instrument, which I think is a special instrument, as a blessing for the community. And so July 12th, along with the semi-quincentennial, we thought that we could use the organ and its beauty and our organist, Dr. Malone, to come and play some patriotic music and to celebrate that anniversary. So this concert is intended really as just a patriotic celebration, not a church concert, not a Lutheran thing, but a community thing, to be able to sing these songs and hear this beautiful music that's a part of our 250 years in this country. I'd also just briefly want to talk about Dr. Catherine Malone, who's a who I think has been an asset to us as we've gone through this grant from the Perry Foundation and looked at the use of our organ. She is, she's an organist at Wichita Falls at the University Methodist Church there. But as a world-renowned musician, she's been a part of helping us since the beginning and doing this, and she's come to play for a couple of concerts, and we've been wowed at how beautifully she plays. She's been praised worldwide. She's played all over the world. She's played at different venues and festivals. She's played for West Point Military Academy. She's been at many churches in New York where these grand, huge ranked organ pipes are. She's been in Europe playing for some of the historical organs that only select musicians get to come play. And just for her to be coming to Olney, I think is a treasure, is a gift. It's a beautiful thing that this world-renowned organist will come to our community and share her talents with us. Our organ isn't a world-renowned organ, but I think for a community this size, it's a beautiful instrument that she'll come and play. So just to come hear the organist, to hear a beautiful organ that has been designed for the space that it's set in to make beautiful music, and to celebrate our country, our patriotism, with songs that you'll remember, that you'll hear, that you'll sing along with. So that's July 12th at 3 o'clock. We can celebrate our patriotism as we sing these familiar songs. And then the ice cream social afterwards, stay for the yummy ice cream, right?
Yeah.
There are some of the people in the church are going to make ice cream. We'll have other ice cream. If you're a ice cream aficionado and have a recipe you want to share, bring it with you and be a part of that ice cream social. That's kind of an American thing afterwards too.
Cool.
Yeah. For the last 2 concerts, she has talked about the history of the music, and it's just takes an organ concert to a whole new level. You can't even imagine that an organ could be that beautiful. We talked about the historicity of the Reuter organ. We've had it since 1975, around there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the organ itself is it's a 8-rank organ, which means it's about 500 pipes that vary from smaller than a pencil to something that has a foot diameter to make the low bass sounds. Wow. It was when the church founded and moved to town in '67, they designed this space and intended to have this organ in as soon as they could. But for these farmers who are moving to town, taking this undertaking, that was another $35,000 in the 60s and 70s for them to have to get together to pay. And so they had to make a commitment to it, and they did. And I think, Gina, we looked into the replacement cost, just kind of briefly talking, and to replace that instrument today that cost $35,000 then would be over $200,000 today.
Golly.
So that beautiful instrument is sitting here in our church in Olney, and for a town this size, I think is still, and then today when a lot of organs are being dilapidated, it's still a treasure, I think, to have that kind of an instrument in our town.
Yes, it really is.
That's great. So many people may not realize how important music is in the Lutheran tradition. Why has church music always occupied such a central place in Lutheran worship?
The church service a little bit different than a lot of other denominations. For us, along with the idea of the gospel, that justification and that we're saved by what Jesus does alone, is the primary teaching and doctrine, but we always kind of hold it in hand with God being present to give those gifts to us. And so for us, coming together on Sunday or coming together for worship isn't just a time for us to express our praise or thank God, which it is that, but primarily we believe it's where God comes to serve his people with his gifts, to give us his love and his forgiveness, and to apply what Jesus has won for us on the cross to us as individuals in our lives. And so if the church service for us is designed to be a place where God comes to his people, we take the liturgy, the historic liturgy, we hold that liturgy kind of in a high regard. And the liturgy as we have it today has kind of been designed around organ music. A lot of it was written, the songs that we sing were designed to go with the organ and what it is. And the organ, I think, was chosen before the Reformation in the 1500s, and around the Reformation time. It was chosen by the church because it's really one of the only instruments that's designed mechanically to simulate the human voice. If you think of a pipe organ, it's basically what our body does. You're just pushing wind through something to make a sound. And so the pipe organ sustains the voice during our congregational singing as we sing these praises to God and hear of what he wants us to hear. It's a wind instrument that replicates the voice kind of with a sweeping but more majestic sound than our voice, right? It has this all-encompassing kind of tone to it that pairs well with the group. That's why the organ's also used at baseball games, for instance, because it can be used to sing and to lead singing. And you think about the versatility of an organ also. Some talented musician like Dr. Malone or most musicians can make it whisper.
Yeah.
But still, you hear that whisper wherever you are.
Yeah.
And in the next breath, it can be a booming thunder, right? It can fill the whole room and make it shake. And at the same time, a musician can make it something that's sorrowful at a funeral or at a time of contemplation. But on Easter Sunday, it sings with the beauty and reverence of victory, right? That comes forward. So it's this versatile instrument that the church has used. And I think it's also important to consider how it's an instrument that you don't hear in secular society too often, right? It's an instrument that's not on the radio. You're not going to turn on country music or any kind of pop music and hear the organ very much in the background. and so it marks itself in this kind of secular media-driven world as something that's different, that's special, that's still majestic and grand and versatile. And it helps signify that the space that you're entering and that you're coming into in this place is a different place. It's a set-apart environment, and that it has this reverence to it. It wasn't always that churches used instruments at all to sing. If you think of the Gregorian chants of old, where you just have men chanting, that's pretty much until the 1500s what church music was for people. No guitars, no praise bands, no organ, nothing. And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so right around the same time as the Reformation, Luther and other church leaders, not just the Lutheran Church, but they saw the beauty of this instrument that could be placed in churches and used to help the people sing. There were sermons that Lutheran pastors would give that talked about how it doesn't matter if you're persecuted, you got to stand for the truth of Jesus. And like Luther says, here I stand, I can do no other. When people want to persecute you for believing in Christ and what you hold with them, the next sermon would be why the organ is important in helping us say these things and sing these things and learn these things and know these things. And then the congregation would sing kind of one verse, kind of like the old Gregorian chant. They would just kind of sing a line. And then the organ would be added with one part in the next verse. And they would learn with the organ to sing. And that went on probably until the 1600s. If you've never been to a liturgical church or a church with an organ, usually hymns will start with kind of a grandiose introduction that just beautifully displays this pipe organ. It'll kind of settle down, and then it'll go into the four parts of the voices that would sing the song. So that it's not just the music, but the words that we sing that are important in what we do. This led to some of the great composers that we think of in classical music. J.S. Bach, was a Lutheran, first and foremost.
No way.
And what he wrote, what he wanted to write, was for the Lutheran services. And so when you think of some of his grand music, and the choirs and the symphonies that he writes, it started in his mind using this mechanical thing that was designed that he could use his mind to play these things. There's a lot of different kind of composers you can name who wanted the organ and the music to be a theological education along with this beautiful symphony-sounding music. It's a part of our theological heritage, and we still have universities and programs that train church musicians so that they can incorporate this theological word with this music to share God's peace and presence.
One thing that I'm not sure you mentioned was the Reformation was also about letting the people participate a little bit more in the service, right? Can you go into that a little bit and how that has affected, the music affected that?
Definitely. So if you remember before the Reformation, or if you've ever studied this, you'll remember that almost all church was done in Latin, because that was the language of the church, and the church wanted to preserve its identity by preserving this old language that they used and they could speak. It was considered sinful by the church in a large part to put the Bible in the language of the people. People were persecuted for that. As a matter of fact, it was kind of the final straw for Luther that he wrote the Bible in a German language people could understand, that the Catholic Church said, we can't have anything to do with this man anymore. There's no chance of reconciliation. But Luther knew that if coming to church is about God giving you his gifts, you need to hear what those gifts are. You need to hear what the Spirit's saying. You need to hear what that word means. And so it wasn't just the Bible that he put into the language of the people, but also what we call the liturgy, the divine service. There's an old thing called the Deutsche Mass, which is the old German Mass. It was one of the first times that this Latin liturgy was put in any other language. And so hymnody especially, and church music, was made for the people to hear of God's grace and to be a part of that grace of God.
Can you imagine what that must have been like the first time that they did that?
Yes.
Yeah, it was kind of, that's why he had to introduce it slowly, right? The people are saying, we can't sing like that. What are you putting this music in here with this? So he had to introduce the organ slowly. But yeah, the music for Luther, it was something that he had a passion for, because he thought that it was a beautiful way of making God's truth stick with us, to stay with us, to put it in our minds and to take it into our lives, and to have that word be a part of everyday life. So the service became about not what the church had and what the church could contain, but what the people needed and what the people could use, and music was a big part of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just a revolution. So it's kind of perfect that we're talking about it on the 250th anniversary of
Absolutely.
founding of another revolutionary society.
So Luther famously said music was second only to theology. Is that what he meant by that? Just that's how you reach people, or?
Yeah, he believed that music had this unique ability to reach God's people. And so if theology, which is the teaching of the Bible that teaches you about God, which we believe primarily is how God loves us, how God wants us to be a part of his family, to give us things that we can't obtain on our own when we become a part of his kingdom, and we have faith to believe who Jesus is and all that he's won for us, that we who are separate from God are now a part of God. And now God says, you belong to me and I forgive your sins, so I who am holy can have people with me that weren't part of me because they sinned. And so theology, of course, is the primary importance, to say what God says, to speak God's truth. But music is a way to make that move in our hearts and bring comfort during times of crisis, and to express joy when things are going well. And so the music helps proclaim the truth. When you combine the language of the people with melody, you're conveying the truth in a way that is longer lasting. It's a way to convey emotion. And for Luther, one of the big things was it's a way of defending our soul from the attacks of the devil.
Oh, yeah.
So oftentimes people look at music, contemporary music, as a tool of the devil, but Luther viewed it quite opposite, right? He viewed that music was hateful to the devil because it would tell you the truths of God. It would help you to hold on to what God had to say. And just as theology defeats the devil through the words of Christ and what it does, so the gift of music drives away the things the devil doesn't want you to, the sadness and anxiety and the guilt and the depression the devil wants you to have. Luther says music can put it right there and push all that stuff away.
Oh, man, that is fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. I spent going through chemo. I remember driving there, having that worship playlist, and then coming back from it. And I think it made such a huge difference on my mental state. And there's nothing better than being able to worship and even being in church. And the gospel, yes, the gospel does reach you, but there's something to be said for when the church's voices and you have the instruments going and all together. Nothing gives me goosebumps more than when all the voices rise together. I mean, I just love that so much.
You said something interesting there. It is emotional that it helps, right? So that when you're going through these things, music will give you a different emotion about it, but it changes your thoughts too. It changes the way you understand or look at the reality around you. Yeah. And Christian music can give you a different frame of reference or a different lens in which to view the world, because things your mind's not just going to think, that music will bring to you and bring to your mind to remember that God should be worshipped, and that God loves you, and that God's providing for you, and that all these things that Luther wanted people to know that were hidden from him for so long, God's giving them to you. That you don't have to go and pay for your sins on your own. Listen to this song, right? Some of the music that he wrote is saying, listen to God's victory for you and how he's doing it and how he wins it for you. And it sticks with you. Yep. That is emotional, but also mental and spiritual, right? It kind of rises above all these things.
Yeah. Yep. I can't imagine what it would have been like if he hadn't done this and we didn't have music be a part of service and being able to have access to worship music today. I mean,
yeah, we often think the Reformation, when the church changed from just one church to having all these different denominations, was just about the church, but it really affected society in so many ways. And the way society is today can be pinned back to what these men of God thought was important and how it should be and how it's lasted, and that affects on us in all sorts of areas. Yeah, for sure.
Met people where they were at, and I think that's what's so important about faith is not just having just this one type of person has access to God's love, and
Could you imagine if you were told look, you can't access God or his love or know about him unless you come to this certain place and hear things you don't even understand.
Yeah.
Right.
And pay money for things you don't even know what you're paying for.
Right.
And you get these things. And even the Catholic Church has changed since that Reformation to say, look, we need to put things in where people can understand. And the church isn't just the gateway that keeps these away from people, but we're an instrument to share these things with
Right.
people.
He needs to be available to everyone.
Right.
I love
Love
that.
it. Me too. Gosh, I didn't think really at all about that, but you're totally right. It's changed the way that we think about God, the way that we move in the world, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the famous hymn that Luther wrote, and why has it endured for so many centuries?
So probably when you think of one hymn of Martin Luther, you think of "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God."
Right.
Most denominations will have this in your hymnal, and it's a song that's been around that Luther wrote, so a 500-year-old song that really is a majestic rephrasing of Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, our ever-present help in time of trouble. And so Luther, with political pressure, with church pressure, with his own people sometimes standing against him as he's trying to stand on God's word and the truth and changing society, Luther knew that Psalm 46 was a comfort. And so one of his greatest lasting legacies is that "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God." As you sing it, you're kind of reminded that the devil, the world, all these things that are against you have no power, because God is ultimately the one who has you in his hands, and he's the one that takes care of you. So in the end of that hymn, we sing, "Take they our life, our goods, our fame, our child, our wife, all these things are gone. Yet they've nothing won. They've been judged, and they've been put aside, and we remain in God's kingdom." And it's a beautiful kind of way of encouraging the church. But Luther wrote 36 hymns. Not all of them lasted. He wasn't the greatest hymnist. He loved music. He knew the importance of music, but his time was spent reading theology and the classics and making that the Bible into the language of the people. So it was kind of a side hobby for him. Some that stand the test of time are "Dear Christians, one and all rejoice." The Christmas song "From Heaven Above to Earth I Come" that talks about the incarnation of Jesus beautifully. A funeral song you may have sung is "From the Depths of Woe I Cry to You." But my favorite song is actually number 666 in our hymnal.
Oh, right.
And it was chosen that because the name of the hymn is "Lord, Keep Us Steadfast in Your Word." And so, 666 has all the superstition and the theological ideas behind it. And so in our hymnal stands this hymn of Luther that talks about the triumph and the victory we have when we have God's Word in music and in the Bible. It's this kind of a victory march that actually was said that when Germany was being attacked by the Turks, that the Scandinavian princes were coming down to help the Lutherans because the Catholics from the south and west weren't going to help the Lutherans. And so these Scandinavian Lutherans are coming down, and they say that they were singing that song, "Lord, keep us steadfast in your word, curb those who would by deceit or sword wrest the kingdom of God away." And it's said that one of the princes in battle was singing that song when he lost his life to come help defend people in their faith from their enemies. So that's a part of what hymnody can do, and Luther's passion for music is definitely singing some of those hymns.
Wow. I mean,
That's awesome.
So much history.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here talking about a concert, but this is life and death stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So as someone who spends a lot of time thinking about music and worship, why is it so important to preserve these traditions in a world increasingly dominated by technology and digital entertainment?
Yeah, I think whether it's organ music or praise music or contemporary Christian music or whatever it is, I think it's important for the church to continue to sing its music, because I think the first thing about it in this world, it's the secular world, it's increasingly digital, and you can just turn on your iPod. I'm old now, you see, right? It's now you go to Amazon Music or whatever else, right? But music is just whatever you want to hear at the touch of your button, and you can hear whatever kind of music you want. But in the church music, there's a human connection that I don't think you can get from opening up your phone and listening to a playlist. Yeah. It's a communal participation that bridges whoever you are, whatever you're going through, whatever your condition in life is, whatever your station, whatever your identity. It bridges these things to put us all together in something that we agree with, and that we're singing with our own mouths because it means something and it has a great history to it. So I think primarily in church music you get this connection to God, one another, that you don't just get from every other kind of... Now, music does that. It brings people together. It's that communal part of it, I think, that's super important for us to keep singing. It helps safeguard the identity of the church. right? The words that we sing should reflect Scripture and what God wants us to know and feel in our lives. We're the same in Christ.
I never had sung in a choir before I joined St. Luke, and when we started doing this music program, I kind of got volunteered for it. But it has been so incredibly joyful. It's been such a great experience. We've done some 4-part harmonies, 3-part harmonies, and it's just been so lovely. It's in the service of God, and it's just like the most peerless experience.
And the depth of it. One of the songs we sang was a Gaelic tune that sounded like we were standing in the hills. You know, and then the next song we could sing could sound that patriotic and say, look, this is what America is about. Mm-hmm. And the next song could be something that you sang on your grandma's lap when you were a little kid that she would sing in your ear, and it just brings emotion to you. So that's the richness of that music too.
Yeah, I think that's what I love so much is although everybody's singing the same words, the association and the link to their lives is all different, right? Like what this one phrase or what part of the song, like it's all that we're all singing the same one, but we are all thinking of something completely different in our lives that it affects. And I think that's where music really reaches, is because you're able to, it applies to all of us one way or another.
Right.
And
brings us together.
Yeah. And you're sitting there in the church. I mean, it's such a balm, you know, no matter what you're thinking or whatever that's, you know, what that is bringing up in your soul, it's just so comforting to be doing that all together.
Right.
It's very healing.
Yeah.
So the concert, as we know, will be including some patriotic hymns and community sing-alongs. So what are we did talk about some of the patriotic hymns that we're going to ask Dr. Malone to play. Mm-hmm. And what were some of those?
I think if you come to the concert and hear her playing, you're going to hear things you've never heard before, but you'll recognize it, even though you haven't heard it in such a way that she's going to play it with the fanfare and the grandioseness of how well she plays. But it's still going to stir something into you because you're going to hear America the Beautiful that you would sing at a firework concert on the 4th of July. You're going to hear God of Our Fathers, which is an anthem for many people of our country, and the Battle Hymn of the Republic, My Eyes Have Seen the Glory, and it's all these songs that are kind of ingrained in us that we've sang since we were children around patriotic things. You'll hear the national anthem, but I imagine she'll play it in a way you've never heard it before when it comes to this 500 pipes with the different stops and ranks and things she can do with that organ. So it'll be familiar, but I really do believe in a way you've never heard before. Way I've probably never heard before. You've never heard Gina as she comes and brings it with this instrument and her talent. So
and I mean, when do you have a chance to sit and sing with a bunch of other Americans about the country?
Yep, absolutely. And we are approaching America's 250th birthday. So why do you think patriotic songs continue to resonate with people generation after generation?
Because we don't want to say semi-quincentennial. So it's easier just to sing. No, it's...
I've nailed it, though. Semi-quincentennial.
Yeah, in my lifetime, do y'all remember that were you in Texas for the sesquicentennial?
Yes,
yes. Texas 125th, which is a quarter, I guess, a sesquicentennial. But now, the semi-quincentennial is half of 500, 250 years that our country's been here, right? That we've stood on these, you call it the Great American Experiment, that's lasted now 250 years to stand on these freedoms that we say people ought to have and these inalienable rights that were given to people, not just a standing up against taxes and all those other things, but a new way of thinking that our country has. And so we've made music around those ideas throughout our history. You think of Francis Scott Key writing the Star-Spangled Banner in the middle of the war, and how we just sing a song about how you saw the flag at the end of the battle is still there. And we just sing it, not even thinking about it, but because it just brings a sense of patriotism to us. And that's what that music that we're going to hear is going to do. It gives us a sense of belonging. It's the good pride, the things that we have in our country that are prideful, that are good about who we are and what we do. That's what that music has been designed around, to unite us as a people. Not in the scars or the black eyes of our history, but in the things that we should celebrate and that are good about this great American experiment that we can express through music, which we will do on that day.
Yeah, no, it's going to be just lovely to think about. Like you said, it is an experiment. It's something that we're always trying to make better, kind of like how we try to be as people before God. So
there's before God, we always struggle because we're always sinners, right? We always mess up and we always make mistakes, and the devil wants to use those things to drag us away from God. But God constantly comes back to you with his forgiveness, saying, "You're still mine. I love you. I've forgiven you." And one of the greatest freedoms in America is that we have the freedom of religion to be able to speak those truths. Part of that experiment, we often get church and state confused, that the founders of our country wanted nothing to do with religion. No, they wanted people to have the ability, whether you're Lutheran or Baptist or Catholic or whatever you are, to be able to be about your faith and just have that faith guided not by people sitting somewhere else, but by the people who are together in these pews singing these songs. So, yeah, and so this great American experiment and these freedoms have been critical for the church as a nation too. And so putting those two things together on that day, I think, will be a good thing.
Absolutely.
So is this concert intended primarily for church members, or is it really an invitation to the broader community?
Yeah, so I would like to say clearly that it's distinctly not for our church, and this concert specifically. Some of the other concerts in our series have been to teach us about some of our musical tradition and history as a church and why we do these things. But this one's about celebrating our country and hearing the beauty of that through an instrument that's been a part of our country as well as a part of our church. So it is a community event, not a St. Luke Lutheran Church event. This is a community event that the Perry Foundation wants to help the community to have. And so we want to share an instrument that God has blessed us with to be able to celebrate that American pride and the spirit of America and our anniversary and our community in Olney as well.
And finally, can you just remind us one more time when and where that concert will take place?
It's not the Sunday right after the 4th, but the next one on July the 12th at 3 p.m. So it's in between the morning church times and the evening church times that people would have in town. So 3 p.m. at St. Luke Lutheran Church. It's not hard to find on the west side of town, just north of Stewart's, a couple blocks. And please do come, bring ice cream, or don't come eat ice cream. And if you do make good ice cream, I'll help you eat it. I'll be glad to tell you if it's good or bad. And come enjoy the music and the great musician and the beautiful instrument.
And also, even if you're not from Olney and you're hearing this,
Yeah,
come. This is your chance to hear somebody who's just extraordinary play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming, and I hope everybody will make it out there Sunday, July 12th at 3 p.m. at St. Luke Lutheran Church.
That's right. So
you,
come and
Pastor
see
Sean.
it. It's going to be amazing. Eat ice cream. It'll be super fun.
Thank you. Hope to see everybody there.
All right. Thanks.
So in other news, we're going to talk about Olney in America is here, and we're here. We have already started. The stage has been set.
Yes.
Thank you to Mr. Craig and Mr. Cresswell for coming out there today.
Ooh.
They delivered it themselves. Thank you.
They delivered the stage.
Yes. So we are starting planning, and preps have already begun. So Thursday, July 2nd, the gates will open at 6. We have 9 different food vendors.
Oh, God.
Yes.
How am I ever going to choose?
We have so many different ones. I'll be posting the list of everybody. I wanted to get confirmation from a couple people before I move forward. I don't want to promise somebody would be there and they're not, but we have a good sort of option range of choices. Whatever you like, I promise we have it. We actually have a lot of sweets this time too.
Ooh.
So we have like one that's like mini donuts. We have like cheesecake bites. We have baked goods. I mean, we have such a mixture of everything. So plan on coming hungry.
Yes.
It's going to be a great event. And I checked the weather.
Yeah, so did I. I've been checking it every single day.
Not a drop of rain on the forecast.
I know. You know what? And I got really nervous because I looked at the weather for Saturday, mistakenly thinking that it was on Saturday. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to pour on Sunday. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yes. So we have the semi-quincentennial weather dome over us, I think.
Yes.
They were making sure America's birthday was not rained on.
Oh, I hope not. But I think we're safe now.
Yeah. And then don't forget, the Young County Stars and Stripes Parade will be on Saturday morning. 7:30 a.m. will be the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast. Then we'll have a community prayer by Preston Crow at 9 a.m. Then the Veteran Honor Ceremony at 10. Oh, wait. Is that 9 a.m. for the Veterans Ceremony? And then the parade will start at 10. So there, you can still sign up your parades. Don't forget, on July 1st, here in Olney, They're doing Gussy Up Your Bikes, but it's anything with wheels, so everybody can participate in that. And if you don't have the ability to get to Graham, we understand. So what we did is we just moved our parade to the evening. Mm-hmm. So at 7:30 p.m., we will line up around the Olney Savings Building.
Okay.
And then the parade will go down at 8:15. And so you'll go all the way down, and then it will end with watermelon, waters, and sparklers.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. Do big people get to have sparklers too?
I believe so.
Oh, thank goodness. I haven't had a sparkler in so long. And I was really kind of scared of them when I was a little kid.
Were you? They have like these mega ones that really freak me out. But I did see something the other day on TikTok where if you put an orange on your sparkler, if you're like nervous about the flame, if you put an orange on it, at the bottom of it, the flame goes inside the orange and it lights up the orange.
Oh, neat. Does it cook it?
I don't know. But I know that I don't have to worry about my kids burning each other.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they are kind of scary with those sparkles coming off.
Now they have the massive ones that are like huge. And my kids, I don't know about your kids, guys, but my kids get kind of wild.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're supposed to do with a sparkler.
Yeah. Well, it's all fun and games till, But anyways, they'll have the sparklers down there and the watermelon, of course. And thank you to our NHS volunteers. Also, thank you to Chris Camp because she is the one that really, really just loves the 4th of July. And so thank you to her for sort of spearheading that. So,
well, all right. Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, so where are we on our calendar? The Olney Senior Cup Center is presenting its second annual variety show on July 18th at 6:30. That is going to be at the Civic Center. So come on out. We're going to have some really great acts, including the Piano Man, the Branham Family, Brass Buttons, the Edgingtons are going to be performing, Poet Lee Wiley Birch. Attendance is going to be by donation, and all of the donations help Meals on Wheels and the programs at the Senior Cup Center.
Are you going to perform anything?
I don't have any talents.
I can karaoke really good.
That's what you said. You say this, and then you say that no one will ever see you.
No, I mean, they can't, only because there's no karaoke here anymore.
Oh,
Every time they had karaoke here, I was there at the Legion.
Really? But wait a minute. Dustin Hudson had it there at the at Hudson's on Main. Did you ever go and do it there?
No, because I think his was going on. I don't know why I never went to that one. I always just went to the Legion. But I don't know. How many times did he do it at Hudson's?
At least 2 or 3.
What would be your favorite karaoke song?
If I did karaoke, oh man. I do a lot of loud singing, loud car singing. It's all of the 80s stuff and 90s stuff, like Total Eclipse of the Heart or something like that. And you got to have a real dramatic one if you're going to karaoke. What about you?
I always try to do one Taylor Swift.
Oh, I love her.
So I do Taylor Swift. When I won tournaments or karaoke contests in the past, I won with Billie Jean, Michael Jackson.
Oh my God, you've won some contests?
Oh, yes.
Why aren't you performing? You're not doing your civic duty.
It's my son's birthday party. I'm like the same overlap. And
too bad.
my kids would kill me if I was to go up there. They would be mortally embarrassed.
Oh, yeah, well.
Oh, and I also do Tracy Chapman. Give me a reason to stay here.
Yeah. All right.
And Selena. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Selena. Oh, my God. You mean which one? I Could Fall in Love?
Yes. Or Bitty Bitty Bomb Bomb. Or...
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Any of those.
Oh, my God. I'd love to see you do Bitty Bitty Bomb Bomb.
It's all about performance, though. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You can... So for one of my daughter's birthday parties, we had a karaoke glow party at the Legion. We rented it out.
Oh, you're kidding.
It was so awesome. And I would just like to say I was so proud of the kids. At that time, my daughter was turning 10. And she had girls going up there and performing like Rage Against the Machine. I was like, all is not lost. We are doing our job, parents.
Oh, that's so good.
Like even my kids know Sublime. My kids know Cake. I mean, I am educating them on the ways of 90s will never die if my kids are around.
I was going to say, well, that's good. Yeah, you know, the 90s was, that was not my favorite decade. I think Will and I are both 80s kids.
80s and 90s.
Yeah, well, he says 90s too, but in the office he plays a lot of 70s music too.
Well, I love that they do that. That's really cool for Olney to show their talent.
I agree. So everybody turn out and at least go and see our fabulous talent. So and help the Senior Cup Center.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess that is it for us for this week, right? Do we have anything else?
We don't have an exit.
No, but we can figure it out.
Yes, that's what we have for this week. This time next week, Olney in America will be done.
I know it.
And
what are you going to do with yourself?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
All right. I'm Kimberly Smith.
And I'm Gina Keating.
Thanks for listening to Olney On Air.